Working on a 2003 Toyota Land Cruiser, trying to program a mobilizer, but it's only going to 3 seconds and failing. Let's go ahead and try to troubleshoot this and complete it. So using the Smart Pro, we're going to connect. We're going to the new key and slide it in there. Okay. So it goes straight to that. Hey, welcome back. So let's go ahead and kind of run down. So as you saw, we could not program that key. What if you have other encounters where you're trying to program a turnkey, like the immobilizer and the chips, and it's not able to program? What would be the solution? Well, let's clone it. We can use, the XHorse or the Autel. That's a new thing. I will have links below in the description comparing these two, along with other videos of in the field use. But what if we don't know how to take apart that key, this key, or that key? I'm going to have, following this, all the keys like Acura, CDJ, GM, Ford, Hondas, Lexus, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Subarus, Toyotas, and then also Volkswagens, all kind of listed in there, showing you open, close, how to get to them with the various tools to make you very efficient and speedy, but also like able to problem solve. So stay tuned, and hopefully this video helps you. And yeah, make sure you check out the links below, and also give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. It just helps. Thanks. So let's go ahead and get ready. The tools we're going to need would be a simple punch pin. This is going to be for majority of the vehicles. Various flatheads, like screwdrivers, and then either like a pocket knife or a box cutter. You basically need an edge. You don't need like razor sharp. You just need to be able to get in between that seam of those keys for some of them. And we're basically just going to go through, as you can see, I use it for the back to sometimes tap out those parts. You don't need a lot of weight, just enough to tap and kind of loosen that plastic. So let's go ahead and get started. We're just going to go A through Z, or A through V, because of Volkswagen, and keep it pretty simple. So we're going to look at an old school Acura turnkey. There's a chip inside. So when you look, there's no like slot or anything for like a flathead. If you try to go in there, you can make it ugly and damage it. So when you look at the seam, see that seam all the way around? We essentially want to use something like a flathead or a box cutter and essentially hold it up like so. You don't want to slip and damage, but I'm going to look and line it up on that seam like so, and I'm just going to press a little like that. I didn't push hard, just press a little, and I can work my way around, and I can maybe wiggle it like so, and wiggle, and like that. Very simple, very easy. And then we can use our flathead to pop out that. Most times there's super glue holding those chips in place so they don't rattle. And you can do the same thing. And you can grab another chip like that. You can break that out. You're going to notice sometimes there's that wall there. You can break it out, cut it out, Dremel tool, or you can stick in another chip, something like that. Cut a little bit of that plastic and you can wedge it in there. The main thing is you don't want the key to rattle, because then the customer's like, hey, that sounds cheap. So put it in place, glue it in place, or use like Loctite putty, something to secure that chip, and you're good to go. So that's going to be for the Acuras. Pretty simple, and it clips back together and you're good. Now when you look at like the CDJs, like the Jeeps, the Rams, the Jeeps, Rams, all those other CDJs, Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeeps. Let's kind of look at these keys. Let's start with the older one first. So this is going to be another one where there's no seam, with like a spot for like a flathead. So, but we see a seam around here, and this varies. Some are going to be like the original ones that say Jeep are going to be like encapsulated in plastic and rubber. You can't take those out. But all the aftermarket ones, or the secondary ones, or the new reproductions, you can grab them and open them. So again, same kind of concept. I want to put the knife blade like so, and I'm going to press in and go around and pop it out and there is your chip. You have more room for here, so more room for activities. But yeah, pretty simple. And also if you want to put like a drop of super glue here and there to lock it in place, again, it just removes any sort of issues of those keys falling out. When you look at these keys, this is pretty cool. This is for the fobics. Yes, there is a little chip in there, so this could work for the door and the ignition for that Ram 1500. So it's a really cool backup key. It's kind of ignored. A lot of people don't realize that, but again, there's no spot for that. So let's go ahead and line up. I'm going to use this corner here. I'm going to press in here, press down, and cool, and flex it, cool. And there's your chip as well. Cool. Let's go ahead and close it back up. It's actually pretty sturdy, a lot of reinforcement, 2 screws. So these are really good backup keys if someone's looking for just a door key and to start the vehicle without that fobic. So pretty good, worth its value. And now when you look at these, so looking at the factory ones, the aftermarket ones, I haven't really seen anything that would be useful. So we see a little notch here. So I already opened it just to confirm for this video, but when I open, they're very snug. Open, and we're going to see that immobilizer chip is here, so we're not able to like swap it out and put a new chip in there. I do have a video, I'll put links below, all the links below, for a Honda where I break that chip off. I've never encountered that, just because I've never needed to, because when you program that, programs all together. The Hondas don't, because you can do a manual procedure. So I've noticed the OEM and the aftermarket, like CDJs, they're all going to be like all on board, programs all together. So there's not really an option to, that I've seen, to clone that chip. So you're kind of reliant on programming through the vehicle and that programming tool. Okay, so now looking at these Ford keys, one of the new tools we're going to be using is this hook. It's super sharp. Be careful, you will jab your fingers extra good, and twice on Sunday. But we're going to look, so we have an aftermarket, factory spec, like from Ford, aftermarket, and aftermarket. So let's go ahead and look at these keys. So when we have this Ford key, this is going to make the basic Ford key. We're going to have this slot here. I do have a video where I show how to drill it out with a key cutting machine. It's pretty simple that way. It's a duplicatable skill set, but say if you want in a quick hurry, you can use this hook. Use a rubberized mat. It just makes so it doesn't slip. Keep your fingers safe. And I'm going to press, I'm not going to hold like this, but I'm going to angle like so. I'm going to line this up like so. And I'm going to press down and forward. So I'm pressing on that bar, and I'm able to pull this out to get that chip right there. And I can slide that back in without causing damage. Sometimes there's no little lip here. Sometimes there is or isn't. So the drill method, nice simple hole in here, or the hook, like you're gaffing a fish. Sorry for my references. Now when we look at like a Ford key, this is going to be straight from Ford. So we look at this, and when you open this up, we're going to have it open like so. Don't lose your rubber gasket. But then we're going to have our key. Our battery. And then in here, so this is where, and I'm going to open up the other one right next to it. So this is where we pop it. You just want to be gentle. Use that small flathead. You don't need to be forceful. And open. And there you go. So here's your immobilizer chip, and everything programs together. So I'm going to stick that over there. So that you can't really take it off. I wouldn't recommend it because you can damage it. They're very expensive keys nowadays. And then we have an aftermarket one. Let's go ahead and open. Cool. Same concept, rubber gasket. Cool. Cool. And same bodies per se. Open. And then on here, we're gonna have, how you see that remote module. And then you have the mobilizer chip here. So now with this, we're able to clone keys like this. We're able to have, I guess, a little more flexibility. So if we look, we're able to have our keys, our chip, no bueno, good. And then we want to make sure it's flush, put it back together, line this back up, clip, clip, good. Put the battery back in, good. And also when you're checking, you're putting it back, make sure the buttons work. Cool. And let's go ahead and put this one back together. Make sure everything's nice and flush. Good. And I will line this back up. And little things like this, contact plate, you can always bend those up. Sorry. Contact plates, you can always bend these as needed, but just be careful when you open them up. You shouldn't have to adjust. But that's like fine tuning. I'm gonna put this back. Rubber gasket's still in place. Close it. And again, cool, we're good. And now we have our high security. This is like for those 2019, 16 type vehicles, like a Ford Edge, like their backup key. We notice, hey, there's a seam there, pretty straightforward. And oops, see, could have cut my fingers. So I'm gonna press like so. Cool. And in there, wiggle. Cool. You have your chip right there. You can put your glass tube or other chips there. That's pretty cool. Close it, it clips, we're good. And then we have a key like this. This is like for the 20s, like 18 to 20s, 21, stuff like that, on the edge cut or center cut. And we're gonna notice the keyhole here and that rectangle. Simple. We're going to press in and like that. And there is your chip. Cool. And we're done with the Fords. And now looking at the GM series, I'm just gonna cover the two, but it's pretty self-explanatory for the other ones. So this is gonna be for like a GM, like a Chevy Silverado, a Buick, a GMC, like the early 2000s to like 2013 or so. Turnkey ignition, pretty simple as you can tell. You have the hole, the slot, that's pretty common for these, and you're just going to press in and slide out, and there's your chip there. And cool. And this is like your high securities. This is like for your basically your 14s through 22s, 23s, and same concept, little square, little tiny hole here, and you're gonna line this up and you're gonna press in. It's gonna be very tight. So now it's not coming out. So this is a good example. I'm gonna line this up. I'm gonna pinch like so. For safety, close the knife, and I'm gonna tap. And let's, cool, there it goes. Very tight fit, and I'm able to pop out that chip. Cool. And we're good. And if I need to, I can press back on the rubber mat, and it's good. Nice. So that's how we do those GMs. Now let's look at some of the Hondas. So we have an old Honda, beginning high security, a Honda combo key for like a basically Accord, and then like a newer Accord. So you have those different meter ranges. Let's go ahead and check them out. Put those to the side. And for that basic one, kind of like that Acura we saw, again, we see that line, that seam. Let's go ahead and open. And I'm going to line up, and I'm going to pinch and press, keep my fingers away, and cool. And there you go. Cool. Glass one. Very tricky. Sometimes they just break and fail without warning. Also, if you're taking this out, be careful. Wear iPro. That can pop. That super glue is very strong, and that glass right in the eyes. I'm wearing glasses myself, but I have felt glass shards fly on my face. Not fun. And we look at this newer type of Honda key. See that little square on the top? See a little hole? Same concept. Boom. Peekaboo. Cool. So now when we look at these keys, when we look at these keys, we're going to see need a little more extra. Cool. Take that out. And again, use that flathead right here. And let's see if there's a chip. I've noticed some have chips, some don't. Cool. So it's going to be all on board. So if we look at this, I will have links below in the description. So we can still, if we can program manually the remote, we can clone that chip. So I'm going to open. There's your chip there. You can break that off, cut this section, and again, I'll have links below, and cut that section, and you can put like an XHorse chip in there, no problem. And then you're good. Let's go ahead and put this back. So yeah, you basically cut that section so that plastic is removed and that chip fits, and you're in business. Very simple. You can maybe do that with other vehicles. I just never tried because you can't program those remotes. If you can program the remote manually, you can do that. Easy. Put it back. Cool. And we're good. And now let's go ahead and look at Lexus. So we have the turnkeys. We have some that are different. We have a flat side. You can use this for some of the Hyundais as well. Very interesting. And then we have the side with the rib. And then we have the combo key with the rib as well. So let's go look at these one by one. So pretty simple. We're going to notice a hole in there and a square in there. So we will line this up. And ooh, that one's a tight one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, use that rubber mat so they don't scratch or damage. And I'm just going to tap, and there's no chip in there. Interesting. Oh, this is going to be, yeah, this is going to be the non-transponder. This is what you'd use for like those Hyundais or those basic Lexus. But if you need to clone it, you can pop that chip in. Yeah, easy. Then we have the other one. This will have a chip in there. This is like the little short stubby ones. And there's your chip as well. Easy, good. Press it back in. This one's gonna be a little more tricky because it's a little more complicated. Will be frustrating if you don't do these a lot and you're not used to them. So let's go ahead and open. So loosen, and I'm going to wedge in like so. It's very tight on the back. It feels like you're gonna break it. So I'm going to press, There you go, pop, put the screwdriver there. And then we have our remote. So now you're gonna look at this and say, hey, well, is it like a Honda? What is this? No, there's a chip inside. You can see right here, there's that chip. But we have to take this cover off if we want to change the battery or things like that. So pry, and you're gonna go around, you hear it click. So go ahead and pry one side, try to hold it, pry the other side. Get your fingernail under there so it doesn't go back. And hold it. And take your time. Cool. Don't break these. When you break that and then you open that key, it just looks bad. Cool. And then we're going to have our battery here and our chip here. So we can use a small flathead, and we can most of the times just dig up and out and through this little gap here. And there's your chip. Cool. And we can change it as needed and pop it back in. Cool. And we're going to close this back up and just be gentle. You want to make sure that it's flat, otherwise it's not going to go back in the shell. Smooth, smooth, click. If you have to force it, you're doing something wrong. Cool. And we'll put this back. This is the test. If you can't slide it in like so, feel like lined up perfect. Cool. If you can't line it in, that means the little tabs are out of place. Line it in, clip. Good. And that's going to be Lexus. Now let's look at Mazda. So we have a Mazda turnkey. This could be for the flip key option. This is going to be for that credit card type key. And this is going to be a prox twist. We're like, what the heck? There's a chip in there? So let's go ahead and look at these individually. So we have this regular key. Pretty simple. Again, use your straight edge and line it up. Press. Easy peasy. There's your chip and you're good. Cool. Now we're going to have this key. This is like those credit card keys. I'll have videos. Again, I'll have videos down below in the description for these various keys or like a playlist. But we're going to have the chip in there. So take this out. You're going to need something like a hook to dig in there and work it out. It's usually filled with putty and it's very difficult to get out. But the chip is in there like so. Easy. And then for this key, you're going to say, hey, wait a minute, how is there, this is going to be a remote and this is key. But this is the emergency key. This is going to have that chip in there. So when you look at this, take out that little screw, take off this cap, and you're going to have that chip in there. I haven't found a nice way to take that out except getting a punch pin like this. And sometimes there's like a impression or a hole there, but it's not all the way through. And I basically kind of force it through and I just use it to tap, kind of break that plastic a little and push that chip out. And then I can do that. So you can clone those prox twist keys, no problem. And that's how we do Mazdas. Now let's take a quick look at Mitsubishi's. So we have a basic turnkey and a combo key. There's various options when it comes to the key blades and the vehicles. Too many to count, but quick rule of thumb. When we look at these, we're going to again Some of them see a seam, some are going to be like encapsulated in plastic. You can't do anything, but pretty simple. For the ones with the seam, we're going to press in. Cool. And there's your chip there, and it looks like there's some putty under there to hold it in place. Pretty simple. And again, you can add super glue as needed to lock it back in place so it doesn't come through or fall apart. It's not going to, but. And then we look at a Mitsubishi key. This is an aftermarket key. So let's go ahead and split. Cool. Oh, all the buttons. Cool. And let's look at this. There's no chip present, but maybe there's a chip inside. Negatory. There's your transponder, your battery. Very small and detailed. Probably wouldn't want to break that off. Even though for some of these you can program the remote manually, wouldn't want to risk it and damage that board and those functions. So if you're not able to do the remote, maybe just do the basic key. Less headache. Cool. Let's put this back. Oh, check your buttons before you close it. And we're good to go. So that's going to be Mitsubishi's. Now for Nissan. So we have old turnkey, a new combo key, and then a prox twist. This is not a push start, but a prox twist. So let's go ahead and look. We have our simple key. There's a hole and a square. And we're going to line this up and pop out. Bam. Pretty simple. Then we have our combo key. So say if we can program the remote, but then we want an extra one on the system, you can only do 4. But what if they want like a 5th one? Or what if somehow the mobilizer doesn't work, but we can program the remotes? Kind of doesn't make sense, but let's go ahead and open. Take that out. And ooh, that's tight. Holy moly. Okay. Cool. Very tight. Very, very secure. Cool. That's pretty good reinforcement, and that rubber. There is your chip there. So if you want to clone that, pretty simple. Just pop that out, pop a new one in, and you're good to go. Let's go ahead and close that up. Let's push that screw out. Cool. And again, check the buttons. Good. And let's close it up. And then now for the prox twist. This is like for a Nissan Rogue, a Sentra, things like that, where it's going to have that butterfly. You twist it, and then you have your buttons. Or you take this out, and you stick this in, and you can turn it. You'll notice there's a chip right there. That's where it is. It's basically locked in there. Very difficult to get out because there's no access point. That's where you can damage that if needed, or a small flathead and wedge in and pry, wedge in and pry and work your way out, or tap, 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 tap for a long time, make some leverage, and then pop out. Cool. And that's how we do Nissans. And now we have Subaru. So we have different blades. We have this one, this one, this one. I do have a video, links below, we're using the Autel. So let's go ahead and check out the links below. But kind of tricky. Nothing really can do most of these just because they are very special. So if we look flat black, okay, pretty self-explanatory, but let's go ahead and kind of go in these in order. So let's look at what we have here. Pretty simple. This is going to be for the G stamp. And we have a punch pin. Holy, that is in there tight. Again, I'm going to just use that knife. And I'm going to tap. Make some progress. And cool. You don't need to hit it hard, just loosen it. And pop it out. And pop it back in. It's nice and snug. Great. So that's that one. Now let's look at another G stamp. This is going to be for a combo key. Let's open this up and see. We have a little spot here. Let's see what we can do. I damaged it a little. Let's go ahead and use the knife and just along the seam. Okay. Wow. Okay, there's a chip there. You can try the XHorse. Might work, it might not. It just depends on that type of vehicle. But yeah, so there is the chip there. And we close it back up. Cool. And let's look at the high security type. So we look on here. Don't see, oh, there it is. It might be difficult like the other one. Yeah, it's in there good. Jeez. Cool. Let's go ahead and line this up and press gently. Can we get it? There we go. Nope. Very troublesome. Jeez. Okay, and there's the chip as well. Cool, and we're good. So again, you can clone some of these on the XHorse, but I guess some of the Autel can do that as well, so that's kind of cool. And we close it back up, and that's going to be Subarus. And now you've probably been waiting for Toyota. So we have Toyota. We have a dot key, G, and H, like for a Camry, any vehicle basically. We have a flip key, like say for a Camry Corolla. And then we have a, I guess, standard transponder key for a vehicle key like that. This could be for like a RAV4, a Camry Corolla, things like that. So I'm going to open these, even this one, and show you how to get to that chip. I do have videos below, in the links below, but let's do this in case you just want to watch that. So let's kind of put everything to the side. Cool. So we have our standard 4-button SOP. We want to program remote first, and then the chip But if the chip doesn't work because mix match, we can clone it. So we see our little spot here. We're gonna open this up. Cool, little click. And bam, there is our chip right there. And we'd use like a small flathead, maybe even smaller than this, and pry in here and wedge, 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 or pry in here, wedge, 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 and we are good. Easy. Cool. Next up, we have our standard transponder key. Again, keyhole, square, pretty straightforward, and that's gonna be for all the dot, the H, and the G. Pretty self-explanatory. Gonna pop out, there's your chip, easy. That's cool. And then we have the newer types. This is like for the Tundras, the Camrys, Corollas, Highlanders, RAV4s, that type of key shape. It's like the 14 and up. Let's go ahead and look. Oh, there's our spot there. Let's go ahead and pop it open, and there's your chip as well. If you need to like break that out, I see some super glue right there. It's going to be glued in there, so that's going to be fun taking that apart. You will kind of have to damage here to break it out, but yeah, or you can drill it out, either or. Put it back in. Cool, buttons click. And then this one. Let's save this one for the last part. You have your high security blade for Toyota. So let's go ahead and look at that. We have our little slots between the plastics, and I'm just going to press in. And try to find that sweet spot. Let me try right here. I really don't see any indentation. So let's go ahead and, again, I'm keeping my fingers mindful of the blade. There we go. Cool. And there's your chip there. Cool. And we can close it up. So now let's look at this. This is going to be tricky. A lot of people have troubles with this. So say if it's Camry, you can go straight through and program like normal. If it's a Corolla, a RAV4, a Cross, things like that, you have to clone it. Unless you use NASA, it's just not worth it. So clone it. You want to use XHorse or even the Autel, clone that, and you're good to go. But how do we get to that? It's a flip key. There's a lot of stuff. Tools we'll need is that, and that's basically it. Let's just go. So let's start the clock now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, oh, you can't pop the battery like that. So I'm going to press in here. There's a little wedge. Take that cover off. And I'm going to put the cover here like that. I'm going to take this battery out. And I'm going to put it there. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to use this flathead, and I'm going to take this Toyota sticker off as carefully as I can and stick it over here just so I don't get it damaged. Just be careful. Take your time. Wedge and slowly slide up. And over there. Now I'm going to Phillips. Camera on the way. And these are always going to be very firm. It's a plastic screw. It's not a machine screw. So I really got to put elbow grease in it. So again, be very careful. Don't want to strip it. And I'm going to put that right over there. Cool. So now we look at this. We have our seam here. We don't want to scratch and damage it. These are expensive keys. Our areas of operation are going to be here and along here. We want to take this out. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to press in here on the inside, and I'm going to Good, good. And it starts to loosen. And then in here, I can get that little loop. Cool. And now I have some wiggle room. It's making progress. Let me go back over here. Good. There we go. There we go. Good. This will come out. And then gently pry that. Good. You want to get to that. And then you can slowly open. And I'm just going to wedge a little like that, but I'm not putting too much pressure to damage and scratch. And I'm going to hold on to the spring with the key blade and up and out. Cool. Put that aside without it popping out. Looks very easy, just practice. Put that aside. Here you go. Here is your chip. That is where you're going to have a video below in the links. Or basically break this wall off by wedging between here. Wedging between the wall and the chip to break it off. And then between this wall and the chip to break the chip out. Pop the new chip in, put some putty. Done. It takes about 8 minutes total. Cool. And now the fun part, let's put this back together. So we're going to look at this, and I'm going to see this little bar here. It locks in here. So I'm going to line it up, but I'm going to twist. Does it go this way? Yes, we want to twist and lock it in. So when you press the button, it's going to spring out. So I'm going to lock it in like so. Cool. I'm going to take this, line it back up, clip. Good. Before I screw it in, I'm going to check. Cool. Cool. Good. Might as well check the battery, but I got to put the battery in. But let's go ahead and check. So I'm going to put the battery in, and let's make sure. We just don't want to screw it back together and then like say something's out of place or it's not working. Cool. Uh-oh, I made a mistake. I forgot that. Let's go ahead and open that real quick. So I'm going to open, open. I might be able to slide it in there. Let's see. Nope, can't slide it in. I'm just going to open it up. Cool. Open it like that. That's all I need. I'm going to slide. Oh, I need to open it more. Okay, I'm just going to open it again, once again. And I guess I'm going to keep this uncut just so you can see any struggles and see that I am learning just like you guys. Cool. Jeez, took a bit. Okay, let's just say it broke. Oh man, not broke, but like, oh man, what do I do? Well, let's go ahead and put this back in place. But now let's go ahead and look at these parts. So I'm gonna, the spring has a little lock in there that kind of locks in place so it can turn. How does this go through? Well, it's going to have section that goes all the way through when you look at that hole, and then some notches. So I'm going to line it up. Does it stick out all the way? Yeah, pretty simple. There's 3 variations that are wrong and 1 that's right. So put it back in. And you can do 1 revolution, or if you want to be snazzy, you do 2 times. Cool. Good, good. Got that back in. Go ahead and close it up. Cool. And check this out. So doing 2 times around. Whoa, jeez. Cool. Let's go ahead and put the screw. Also, when it clips back together and it sounds nice and crisp, most likely everything's lined up. A good area. See how it's around that battery thing. It's nice and centered. That means you did it right. If it's offset, it's not going to go together correctly and it's jammed. Cool. Tighten. Let's put the battery in. Let's put the gasket in there. Let's go ahead and put that on the side. Let's go ahead and put this back in there. Whoa, jeez. Cool, that's good. And let's go ahead and take this and line it up. And we are good with Toyotas. So hopefully that's been helpful. Looking at the time, it was a total of 8 minutes to do this key open and close. I did make a mistake by not putting that in the first time, and I opened it apart and then made everything loose. With practice, you'll get this done in like maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes to open and close. Cool. And to finish up with our standard inventory, we have Volkswagen. So we have a transponder key and a flip key. So let's go ahead and get started. I haven't worked on one of these in a while when it comes to taking out to clone it with the XHorse. I would usually clone with the XHorse, but then lately just been using the Autel and this baby to basically make a dealer key and program like normal. The Autel, pretty good. XHorse was a better option. It was just faster sometimes and less headaches. But let's go ahead and get started and see. So on first appearance, I notice it is Radley. I do not like that. This has been sitting in the inventory for a while. So let's see. We obviously have a seam there, but it's like a decorative seam, kind of like a Ford. And there's a notch there. So let's go ahead and open. Most likely we just want to slide and nope. Okay, there it goes. We'll click and open. So there's your glass tube for programming. And if you really wanted to, if you're going to put an XHorse chip in there, Autel chip, Dremel that or Dremel wherever and pop a chip in there. And it basically almost fits. Pop it in there and you're good to go. Cool. Oh, now it's secure. Interesting. Weird, I guess it was loose. And now we have a flip key. So some of them have it where it separates from here. Let's see. Is this the type? No, because it's all together. So this is going to be the difficult one from back in the day. So we're going to take out that battery. Take out that battery. And we are going to have to pry in here and pry in there to get it. And again, I haven't done one of these in a bit, but we're going to open. Okay. Wow. This is why I started using Autel. Very troublesome to open. There we go. And let's be gentle. I'm gonna hold on to this so it doesn't fly up. Gently press. Cool. Cool. And there is your chip there. So if we wanted to take that out, put in an XHorse chip or an Autel chip, we're ready to rock and roll. So cool. Pretty simple. Let me try the other key. Let me just... So I'm going to... Same concept as like that Volkswagen, or the Toyota. I'm going to roll towards. Cool. Cool. Everything's back in place. Good. And then I have another Volkswagen key. This might be the one that splits. You obviously see a line here, 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 screw. Let's go ahead and see. Okay, yeah. So this is going to be a remote module, and then your chip is going to be in there. And this one I haven't opened up before ever because I just go straight with the Autel. But let's go ahead and look and see. That chip theoretically would be in this area, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's in here, but maybe this will help you because I don't know. So I'm going to open, and I see how it twists. Cool. And okay, there is your chip right there. Cool. So if you need to change that out, will a regular chip fit in there? Yep, a regular chip will fit in there. Obviously, take out that glass chip, and you're good. Let's go ahead and close this up. So I need to... got to think backwards. I had upside down and backwards. So I'm going to this way. Let's press the button. Okay, yeah, that was it. Cool. And then I'm just pressing down, and I'm going to tighten. Cool, and let's just double check. Always double check before you finish. You don't want to waste your time. Cool, and we'll put this back together. And we're good to go. Cool, other than that, thanks for watching, and hopefully that makes sense when it comes to what and how and where to grab these chips and stick them in the keys so you can be very successful and very efficient out there in the field. Other than that, have a great day, night, or evening, wherever you are, or morning, and I will chat with you later. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and use this video as reference if you need it, or yeah, have a great day. Bye.